Hello, everybody. Welcome to hottakes once again. Here we bring you the hottest conversations and the most controversial topics that maybe some people are afraid to talk about. Today, I have amazing guests. I'm here with Dr. Atta Essien, who is an expert and a specialist in obstetrics and gynecology. Dr. Atta, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me today.
Also have with me on the couch Mr. and Mrs. Eze Igala. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
They are both pharmacists and it's amazing to have them on the couch today. Yeah, so today we'll be talking about, the waiting season, and this is the third episode in this series. Many of us don't like waiting for anything. And as Nigerians, we're always in a hurry. You can see from the way we drive on the road, to the traffic, and the way people are blowing their horn, and the way we hate to wait on queues at the bank. I remember the queue in NYC. NYC queue where you have to do biometrics.
Yes.
Everybody's, trying to jump the line one way or the other, use their connections. So yeah, welcome. I'm just going to start with the lady and say, what are the three things you don't like waiting for?
Okay, I hate to wait at the bank. So anything that will make me not to go to the bank, I will use that route. So I hate to wait at the bank. I hate to wait at the hospital. So whenever I went for antenatal, I used to try and go by all this when they are almost rounding up. So that I would just pick my drugs and go. Earlier on, I used to go on time so that I would listen and all. But after some time, I felt like, I already know everything there. So I would just plan. Yes. And then I hated NYSC queue.
Oh,
Jesus.
I remember that queue.
It was, and you'll be under the sun, and any small sun I'm exposed to, I'll just be like burnt off. I did not like NYSC queue at all.
The sun is always hot during NYC. I don't know why.
It's hotter than usual.
There's special stuff for NYC that you must suffer. You must save this country. Yes, so I'm going to go to Mr. Eze. What do you hate waiting for? Three things.
I hate waiting for food. When I'm hungry.
Sure.
Exactly. I hate waiting for food. And what else do I hate waiting for? Well, in addition to, of course, the hospital, nobody likes to, but maybe because of my background, too, I've learned to understand that. And I've worked in the hospital. So I've learned to understand that you really just have to wait because care is individualized. So whenever the healthcare practitioner is with the patient, he should give his all at that time to that person and not to rush because of the number of persons. I believe it's better you attend to a few people for a shorter time, quality time than maybe a whole lot of people and then move on. So I don't also like to wait at the hospital. And then maybe where else? I'm really not. I can't remember the last time I was in the banking hall. I really don't go to the bank, so I can't say, for certain. But generally, I just don't like. I'm not your typical Nigerian driver. I'm quite patient in traffic. I wait for traffic lights and all of that. So I wouldn't really call that. Okay, yes, maybe the queue at the supermarket.
Okay.
I don't like that. Why don't I like that? You get to remember something you've not bought. And you get to just spend more. But if there's no queue, you just check out.
Those queues were crazy during the what's it called? The
period
when they were
exactly.
People had to go to buy just what.
And another thing nobody likes to wait for.
What?
Nobody likes waiting for alert to drop.
Oh,
no. For the other person, not for you. You do a transaction and network, and you can't do. Maybe you can't go with your car because there's fuel inside already. You not paid. You can't go with stuff you bought because
or maybe you forgot your card at home and you have to transfer. You say, oh, Lord. And if you're using some banks, I'll mention it. Doctor. So over to you. What do you hate?
Well, me, I'm generally a very patient person. So there's one thing you have to understand about Nigeria. Although Nigerians they associate us with not being patient, but the truth about it is that you have to be patient to get some things done. So over time, I'm generally the kind of person that I've gotten used to waiting. Maybe it's the nature of my job.
True.
Everything you have to wait for in my job.
Wow.
You have to wait for the theater to be ready. You have to wait for the nurses to bring the card. You even have to wait sometimes for the patient to come. You call the patient will be strolling.
Patience.
You will be strolling. You will be strolling, dragging their feet. You want to get angry. Over time, you just get used to it. So all these complaints, maybe I've become immune to it now. Over time, I've become immune to it. Waiting in the bank.
You can wait for anything, even food.
I can wait for food now. Now I've learned that one because when both of you are having a career, you're coming into the house at the same time.
Yeah.
You can't expect your wife to perform magic and the food to appear instantly. So you have to exercise patience. Or else you'll be exchanging words every day in the house, and you will, in the end, she will say she will not even cook for you again. So generally speaking, I think over time I've learned to be quite patient. So I won't say I really hate waiting. It's part of life.
That's awesome. It's good to have patient men in the society.
Thank you.
Like with food, I learned to just have like something like a plan B, like groundnuts or something.
That plan B is risky. Because when your tummy is full and they now put the that's when you know that your plan B was actually a wrong plan.
I have to learn, no man. I don't care. I'm a whole something. But yeah, so the topic for today is actually Plan B. Like we're talking Plan B, the waiting season Plan B. So, what do you think now that we say that granite and all those things are calories? What do you think of having a Plan B in like the waiting season? Generally, waiting for a job, waiting for the right partner, waiting for children, waiting for a visa, whatever you're waiting for, waiting to buy a house. What do you think about having Plan B? Does it show that you don't trust God enough for Plan A? Does it show your lack of faith in what you're looking for?
Okay, let me just start by saying that everybody has a Plan B. Even while you're waiting, doing nothing is also a Plan B, because not doing anything is also part of your plan in life as well. Many people may not realize it, but it's also true. When we talk about it, even looking at the spiritual aspects of it, even when God created man, He knew that one day man is going to fall from grace. So God had another plan, which is also a Plan B, to bring man back to redemption, if we look at it in that light. So having a Plan B is always present. Even if you want to build a house, you won't go and stay where they are molding blocks in their completed house. You must have somewhere that you're staying in the meantime before you build the house, isn't it so? So that place you're staying is actually either your Plan A, and then the house you intend to move to is your Plan B. So whatever we do in life, whether we realize it or not, we always have a Plan B. And that's how God made man. That's why man is the only being on earth that has choices. And when we are talking about Plan B, we're looking at what are our choices, what are our options. Even in marriage, whether it's a lady or a young man or a man, he has choices. He looks, okay, this one, even some of them, I know when I was in university, women used to write lists of their toasters. Okay. This one has this quality. This one has this quality. No, this one.
That's what I was going to ask you.
They cancel this one out. So, just generally speaking, everybody has a plan B.
Awesome. Thank you very much. I was going to ask our only lady here that is it okay, like ladies nowadays, before ladies used to throw their eggs in one basket, but now they're like sharing the eggs and be like, okay, while waiting for like a life partner. So they could have your girlfriend and get married the same weekend. I know a guy that was dating a girl and he traveled and he just saw that his girlfriend was getting married. Yeah. That means she had like alternative plans. So what do you think of, is it good for girls to make this arrangement, or girls or guys to make this arrangement?
Okay, the thing is that I don't believe in that you are going to be like double dating, like they call it. I believe that everybody should have their standards. For example, this is what you want in a partner. This is what you are looking out for. These are the things spiritually, emotionally, these are the things you are looking out for. When you have looked at yourself inwardly, your weaknesses, your strengths, you have compared it with, oh, this is what I'm going to, this kind of person that will be good for me. You understand? So people writing lists, personally, like writing all those names, you're trying to see who is matching this my list, my checklist of, oh, he's this, he's God-fearing, he's led by God, he has mentors, he has people I can report him to. So I don't think you are double dating. I don't think double dating them, all your options, is right. I don't agree with that.
Okay.
Yes, but you have a grand plan or a grand look of success, basically. And those people, you are just trying to check if they fit into your look of success.
Yeah.
So you don't have to date all of them.
Yeah.
Yes, you can be friends with some people and then pick who you want to date that will lead to that your look of success.
Awesome. So if you're dating someone, maybe you break up first and then move on.
Dating some.
Because if you're dating someone at the time, but the person is not serious, or you don't, and then someone serious comes along, you break up first.
The person is not in line with your values, things you are looking at. Marriage is not small business.
No.
Yes, so if the person is not in line with the kind of things that you want, then why are you still in the relationship?
Jump out.
Not see, the way you're saying it is like you're jumping out and then you're meeting another person just immediately.
Yeah.
You have to have check things very well. Also pray, ask God before you just move. Don't just up and
go. Okay, that's good. Mr. Steve, I'll come to you. Do you have the same belief on having a plan B? Do you think it's okay to have one?
Yes, I think it's very, very okay. It's even advisable to have a plan B. One thing that a lot of people also don't realize is we all have plans.
Okay.
Whether we admit it or not. You want to, even when you are filling a jam form, you are a lawyer. Law, I'm sure you put something else in. Even if you put the same law, you put another school, or you put, something else. So we definitely all have plan Bs in life.
Yeah.
And I mean, you go to the store, you want to buy a cup, and you have a preference probably for a red cup, and you don't see a red cup, you won't come back without the cup.
Yeah.
If something else serves that purpose and it's fit for purpose, you will definitely go for it. So yes, we have plan Bs consciously or unconsciously. When we set out to do things, we may be so focused on it, but there's a part of us that goes, okay, this doesn't work out, what do I do? And so, but the beautiful thing about having a plan B, marking it out as a plan B is, if A doesn't work out, it's easier to just switch because you've already thought it through.
Yeah.
As opposed to just having it in your subconscious and then you now go back to square one to start saying, okay, let's do this. So yes, I subscribe to having a plan B. I advise everybody to do that. I advise everybody to just key into that inner them because everybody has that.
So there are some circumstances where, especially now, maybe deeper issues like waiting for children, that most people don't want to discuss about plan B. They're like, I'm waiting on God, I'm believing God. Then I spoke to a doctor and he was like, some women don't even want CS. Like, I'm a Hebrew woman, I'm going to push. What do you think of circumstances like that?
I would, the CS thing first, I think thank God you mentioned it. I thank God we have an ups and downs specialist here. First and foremost, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, doctor. When did CS become abnormal? It's not abnormal. So when people even call vaginal delivery normal delivery, it makes me sometimes because there's nothing abnormal about the other procedure. But that's on one side. Now for those that are waiting, I want to first state that having a plan B, especially when you're waiting for a child, does not in any way contradict your faith in God. Does not in any way say you don't trust God for what you are asking for. And most times we should pray that His will be done. And His will, His time is always the best. And sometimes it may seem right to us, but it may not actually be His time. So when we pray and just have total surrender, and okay, this is what I want, but definitely what you will for me is the best. Having a plan B, there's nothing absolutely wrong with it. I know when you're talking about plan B in terms of waiting for children, you're looking at adoption, surrogacy, sperm donors, egg donors, and the rest of them. There's nothing actually wrong with that. And we need to get down from that high horse of thinking. Some people go to church and make testimonies and say God shamed the doctors. God did this. I mean, it's so wrong. Because God gave you those people to actually help, fulfill His plan. So the doctors, the pharmacists, the nurses are part of God's plan.
True.
Yeah.
That's good you mentioned. I remember watching a skit, and I think the doctor went through the delivery and suffered and sweated and
when they are in there, you're begging them, doctor, do your best for my pregnancy. As soon as the doctor has done the best,
the person went to church, gave testimony, saying, "We give all glory to God, and I want to thank my pastor. I want to thank all the deacons." He said, "What about the doctor?" He said, "The doctor, God used. Thank God for the way they put it, and just discredited all the hard work of the doctor." The doctor will come to you, speaking plan B, waiting for kids and all, looking at things like surrogacy, adoption, and all of that. But many people don't really understand the concept of surrogate. So if you can just expatiate, like what's it all about?
Okay. Before I go into surrogacy, let me just correct one misconception that we Nigerians, unfortunately, we are not very good Bible students, and some of us don't go back to check what is written in the Bible, because that's a very, very critical part of the Bible in which they talk about deliveering of the Hebrew women. People never read the circumstances. They just take one verse and just hold on to it. But let me just give you a little background of what happened. What happened was that Pharaoh told the Hebrew midwives that they should kill all the firstborn male children, and they didn't do that. So he now called them and said, "Why didn't you kill them?" Are they going to tell Pharaoh that, "Oh, we refuse to kill them, we refuse to carry your order out"? What is Pharaoh going to do? He's going to kill all of them. Isn't it so?
Yeah.
So they lied to Pharaoh. They told Pharaoh that, "Oh no, the Hebrew men are very vigorous. So before we even get there, they have delivered, carry their baby and run away. So they didn't even look for us." And that is why Pharaoh spared their lives. So in that context, it is not exactly the truth that they spoke in that context. What they did was they lied so that to protect themselves, so that Pharaoh would not kill them.
Yeah.
But by and large, surrogacy is when, let's put it in the simplest form, surrogacy is when somebody carries a pregnancy for another person. There are different types of surrogacy. There's what we call the traditional surrogacy, and there's also the IVF surrogacy. In the traditional surrogacy, the woman that is carrying the baby has some genetic contribution to the offspring. That means that she is like the genetic mother of that offspring, while the husband is a donor. So this traditional surrogacy has been going on from time immemorial. If we read the Bible, there are many instances of talking about this traditional surrogacy, in quotes. We look at the issue of Hagar and Abraham, that Sarah could not bear children, and she said, "Okay, since I'm tired of waiting, since we're talking about waiting season, she's tired of waiting. Okay, let's help God small.
Plan B.
Plan B, use my handmaiden." But God now came, but that was a form of surrogacy, and that's one of our very earliest records in the Bible of surrogacy. Even at that, if we go deeper as Bible students as well into the Bible, we'll see places like Deuteronomy 25:5. We see places like Genesis 38. In Deuteronomy, in which they were given the laws, it was stated very clearly that if a man dies and he has not yet been able to bear children with his wife, one of his brothers should bear children on his behalf, so that his name is not wiped out from Israel. So that was also a form of surrogacy, and it's still basically practiced in our environment even up to now. But with the advent of IVF now, what they call test tube babies, in which the fertilization process is done outside the human body, and then the embryo is reimplanted back into the person that is carrying the pregnancy for them. In IVF pregnancies, the genetic component is of the commissioning, is what we call the commissioning family. That's the couple that wants somebody else to carry the baby for them. So that couple is called the commissioning parents. Then the person that's carrying the baby for them is the surrogate. There's no biological relationship between the woman and the baby that she delivers. So that is the background of surrogacy. Just basically the last thing, and you're aware, is that there's no law currently in Nigeria prohibiting or guiding the practice of surrogacy in Nigeria. There's no law whatsoever. So it is not wrong. It is not in itself, both legally and spiritually, anyhow you look at it, is not wrong in embracing surrogacy. And we thankfully it's become, the awareness of it is increasing in our environment currently.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I like the fact that you went to the Bible and educated us that the Hebrew women were, lying. And even in Deuteronomy, where someone's brother, has to step in for him. I don't like that part. I don't like that part. And that brings me to the next question, which I'm trying to the lady here, is because while we were waiting, my wife and I looked at the option of, adoption, and like, let's not rush. Looked at surrogacy, and I was like, yeah, that sounds good, because it's still going to be like a part of me. Yeah, but my wife now threw it back to me. I was like, okay, it's a part of you, but what about me? What if your sperm count was low or something happened to you? Will you allow somebody to donate the sperm on your behalf? I just want to know, what do you think about that in terms of surrogacy?
Okay, surrogacy, like doctor said, is not wrong, but in a case where you have to consider the traditional surrogacy in terms of it's either the man, his sperm is not good, or the lady. I think you should avoid that because of the complications, the emotional complications that come with it. Now, finding surrogates is not easy. And most times when you find a surrogate that it's the person's egg you're going to use, that you have to do the traditional surrogacy, you find out that in most cases, when they give birth, they're like, oh, they're attached because it's their child. And so you're now having many times over there, like not in Nigeria, you find out that people are going to the court to settle cases of, oh, the surrogate does not want to hand them their baby after spending so much money on taking care of her, hospital visits and the rest. So personally, I think traditional surrogacy should be avoided because of the emotional complications that come with it. The mother will not want to allow the parents to take the baby again, and then finding the right person. You don't know, the person will come one day and show up and say, that's my baby, it's mine, you understand? So the drama, the chances of a drama happening, it's better to just avoid it and either adopt when you are having a case of one person's egg or sperm is not good. Just adopt. That's what I think.
I think
but if both of you have working if you have a sperm working parts, basically, if both of you have working organs, then you can do the IVF surrogacy. I
subscribe to that. And still implant it.
Yes,
but doesn't the umbilical cord still attach?
No, there's no genetic
carrying mother.
No, there's no genetic
if I'm not mistaken, the umbilical cord is for basically nutrients.
Just
guys hear that it connects. There's some kind of connection that happens.
It's just nutrients and giving the baby life.
Then what breast milk? Then you carry mother might have to.
I can breastfeed your daughter now.
Okay.
Yes, there's nothing wrong.
But someone that has not had a child before, can they still
someone that's not had a child?
Has not undergone the process. Like someone that needed to surrogate now, will she be able to?
No, she won't be able. She didn't carry now.
So I'm just trying to see that there's still some level of
no, there's no DNA or anything pass through breast milk.
There's no connection because breast milk is food.
Just food.
Yes. If I'm still lactating, I can give a married food because many people do it. Some people have stash of milk. After they are done giving their child, and they donate it to people, to preterms, to different people. Yes.
So a woman's case that she
there's no DNA connection.
Producing and she just donates. That's interesting. And then for the legal aspect of it, I think the best way to protect it, like doctor said, there's no law for it, but it's through contracts, through agreement. So if you're going to go through the process, you might need to get a good lawyer to draft and outline everything that you want to.
I know there are a couple of places. I know in the United States there is a law where the birth mother, being the surrogate that has, I think, a 10-day window period. I don't know if it's 10 days or 1 month to either decide. So she can still agree, carry the child all through to 10, give birth, and change her mind within 10 days. But once it's past that time, yes, the law.
She can change her mind.
Yes, she can change her.
What?
But in Nigeria, as I've said, we don't have any legal framework.
Yeah.
However, our courts do recognize the contractual agreement, and it is legally binding as any other contract that is signed, whether a tenancy contract or it's a legally binding document. So it is difficult for the surrogates, once they sign that contractual agreement, to wriggle out, as you're mentioning in the American law. In Nigeria now, we have like little surrogate groups. So once somebody can get in touch with your gynecologist, or they can put you in contact with these surrogate groups so that they'll line up the various surrogates that are available, and now pick the one that you feel comfortable with to carry the pregnancy. Since we are talking about the waiting season, we should also not forget that people that have challenges achieving a pregnancy are very, very many in Nigeria. Nigeria sits in the part of the world in which we have a high fertility rate, but we also have a very high infertility rate. So a lot of people may not be able to afford some of these IVF that we are talking about because they are very expensive. Even those that afford it, it fails. Yes, it does fail. We're not even talking about the failure of the IVF. It does fail. Nobody can give you 100% guarantee. It's not possible. So that looks at exploring other areas, as we're saying, surrogacy. We also talk about adoption. Adoption in Nigeria, sorry to say, but we have to say the truth. Adoption in Nigeria is an ordeal if you want to go through the legal route. I have a lot of patients that have been on that legal route for 2-3 years. That is really trying the patience of these people. And that's what pushes a lot of people to go to the illegal route. When the legal route is closed up, then water has to find its level. And that's why we hear about baby factories. We hear every time baby factories, child stealing, kidnapping of children. People go to the north, will use buses, pack children, start distributing. So we have to wake up and know what we are doing as a nation. If we go to, because the demand is much, whether we like it or not. And childbearing, there's a high, would I say, social premium put on childbearing. Infertility does not kill. It's not a killer disease. Malaria can kill somebody. Infection can kill, but infertility does not kill. But the emotional trauma these couples go through is almost like living hell. It's like living death. Some of them cannot go out again. I know women that come to me, they say, they can't go to marriage again. Why would they go to marriage? Because they will see their other friends that got married with their children, and the first one say, you never born, where's your own child? They become recluse in their own home. They can't go out again. It's mere seeing other children, other women with their children. They get
seeing the pressure of society.
Exactly.
The pressure is so
immense.
Like the people, we did marriage class with a couple in my wife's church. We did marriage class, and those people have been bonding. And we got married like the same time. So they had like one every year, one time. But then you have to, I think people just have to, stop pressuring people, stop asking people.
I think exactly.
Like, there's more to
as a people, we can do better.
We can do better.
There are questions that we should ask people.
No, we will not. No, we have to be real. We will not.
I think it's
through discussions,
education.
Education.
Most people don't know it's wrong. People is scared.
Yes. Yes, some people if you actually feel it's scared, they get to ask you.
About the
Same
in-laws.
question.
Have you thought about the in-laws?
That's
some
what
bad
they say.
in-laws.
I mean,
That's the industry.
and you know, even these days where a lot of there's more enlightenment about it, some in-laws now go through the subtle way. They don't come out trying to tell you. But you know, they start to. It will amaze you that in 2023, there are still people pushing their children to marry second ones.
Yeah.
But that's not another
They
option.
still believe. Yes, I was having the conversation. Is it terrible? That's another option.
Second wife.
Yes.
Calm down. I've known women that have brought their husband to me and said, "Tell my husband, marry a second wife. I'm tired of them blaming me." Yes,
It
I'm
sounds
telling you the
small,
truth.
but like see what Abraham went through.
Yes.
It's his own
I know
option.
women, not one.
That's not him and Ishmael, and that's the
These
whole.
things have to do with
That's
the
the whole
individual.
story.
Even when Phil was saying, you know, the whole surrogacy thing, she would not advise it because of the emotional, you know, it still boils down to the individual.
But what do you think? I wanted to ask you.
Okay, what I think, well, I share a different view in that I don't, definitely she's not saying it's wrong.
Yeah.
She's only at time going through the emotional angle. But I believe if you are ready for it, if you are mature enough to handle it, which is really, really difficult to see. I mean, let's face it. When I listened to your last broadcast on YouTube, and you said when your wife threw the question back, I mentally threw that question to myself.
What will you
And you know, I started to ask her, and really, if you're not wearing the shoe, you wouldn't know anything. So it's easy to just say, come on, now it's still your wife's child. It's even better that this person already has a child, and then you adopt your partner's child and take care of that person. But you still get to be reminded, even by yourself, that that's not my sperm. That's not my, you know, or the woman will say that's not my egg. So it's not wrong. I think I support it. I know I support it, but it depends on the individuals to be emotionally mature and ready to handle it, because a lot of backlash will come. A lot of backlash will come.
We're talking of second wife. What of second husband? What if a man? I'm not saying man. You know, people offering a man, like offering a wife to go marry a second husband.
We come from a part of the world where the first thing when we find couples that are trying to conceive, everybody looks like
you go to the woman, which is totally
wrong. Everybody looks. Most times, you find. I'm sure doctor can do it. Most of the patients, even though yes, you are a doctor of women, but I'm sure you encourage them to come with their husbands. But most of them, their husbands won't even agree.
Yeah.
Some will say there's nothing wrong with them. So it's we're still kind of backward in that as a society. But I share that sentiment. Polygamy is not.
It's not a biblical option.
Really?
Yeah, but that's a whole.
Maybe that's
another conversation.
But it's a big reason.
Sorry, you said it's not a biblical option.
Yeah.
But there are so many instances of polygamy in the Bible.
But that was like before Christ came and said,
Christ never said
one man, one wife. Where is it?
That's what he intended.
I mean, very good Bible says.
But that's even what, not even what he said. That's what he even intended from the beginning. He would have given Adam, Eve, Jessica.
Exactly.
Now,
giving him a love wife.
Wait, calm down. Since we're going into
there's a part in the Bible. There's a part in the Bible that they said they came to Christ and he said Moses only allowed you guys because of the hardness of your heart.
Only allowed.
Moses is not Christ now.
Wait, let me ask you one question. When Cain
killed
Abel, and God drove him out, they said Cain married. Who did Cain marry?
We don't know.
But God's original plan was not incest.
It wasn't
incest. But Cain had to.
But
they had to.
Why is it another conversation? Because there were other people on the earth. It wasn't just Adam and Eve. There were other people on the earth. If you go to study the Bible.
Me, I believe that it's not God's intention. It is not His plan.
This man.
Yes.
Well, you know what the Bible says now. When we are not conformed to this world and we are transformed by the renewing of our mind, we will know the heart of God.
Yeah, just the Holy Spirit will guide you.
Exactly, and there's really no way. I've had this conversation with my wife.
Yeah.
In fact, the conversation got to the point where she's like asking me, "Are you sure?" But personally, I don't subscribe to it because of the attendant social consequences and all. But I still share the sentiment that biblically polygamy is not wrong.
Then men should also be ready to allow their wives.
Do you agree that as you have been transformed, you know that it is not the mind of God.
Yeah.
Well, how do you know that that is not the mind of God?
By the Spirit of God now.
What is the Spirit told me that?
And then even
I mean, there are a lot of
I'm like-
examples of people that were led by the Spirit.
It's only
In the
one
Bible.
place. He said that if somebody is going to be an elder, that's the only place to
Yes, a church
Yeah.
So he
leader.
recognizes
A church
that
leader.
a church leader, but he recognizes that other people that are not
They
leaders
are not leaders in
may
church.
have more than one wife.
Yes.
it was
In the opposite,
Old
yes.
Testament.
In the
No,
New
it's in the New
It's in the New Testament.
An elder should be a husband of one wife.
No,
No,
Yeah,
church
and
leader.
speaking.
They were just giving
I've
them,
read
Yeah.
we're giving them like what an elder should be.
But
And
those that are
what
not
an
elders,
elder should be. You know that that's what a true Christian
Should
actually
be.
be.
but those that are not
They say
They
elders,
are representative.
please calm down. So the opposite of that is that those that are not elders, those that are not leaders.
I disagree though.
You are a leader.
Because you are a
And maybe
leader
I'm
and
a
you are a
leader
representative
of
of
Christ.
Christ. And as if Christ recognizes those people as leaders, are you not a leader?
But we're one body, different parts. Not all of us can be leaders.
Thank you.
Yeah, but you're leading.
Well, like I think we're actually deviating from.
No, wait, we are
And
not
then sorry,
actually.
I've seen the challenges
Sorry.
of polygamy
Exactly.
in my dad's family,
Fine.
in my mom's family, and it never ends well.
Never.
It breeds competition. It breeds a lot of
Those
things that happen.
those challenges are there.
Have you
That's
gone
why I
back to
said.
Buka Street?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so
That's why I said with all those challenges, I will not subscribe to it. But in the event that one is saying it is biblically wrong, that's where I stand to correct.
I think we'll
that
have this
person.
conversation.
Yeah,
I
I
think
don't
we'll
agree
have
that
this
it's biblically
conversation.
wrong.
As a different, exactly.
This is exactly.
Yeah, I will.
No, invite another person.
No, but if so, I'll just end it and say like we should allow our wives to also, take on different.
Exactly.
That's why you see men fainting. We have to attack.
Wait, let's understand it. There are cultures in Nigeria. I don't want to mention the particular culture. There are cultures in Nigeria that allow women to sort of go out and take a husband. There are even cultures that women can marry. If an elderly woman does not have a child, maybe her husband has died, they can marry another woman. There's a culture in Nigeria in particular.
You can
marry another woman. Another younger woman. She has reached menopause. She will do all the rights. Marry another younger woman. That woman will now look for whoever and bring their children. Yes. She will look for whoever and bear children.
In her husband's lineage.
Yeah? No, not necessarily in that woman's husband's lineage. The children she bears will be for the lineage of the woman that married her. There are cultures like that. So that one too is also an option.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yes. So there are cultures in Nigeria that do that. That a woman can marry another woman, for that other woman to bear children for her late husband or for her, so that lineage will continue. So there are cultures that do that.
That's now talking plan B, plan C.
Plan D.
That's a lot of plans.
The truth about it.
So any last words, doctor, on just to advise people on what to do when looking at other options? What do you think the best option is?
There's really, in truth, there's no best option. The truth about it is that what I normally tell couples that come with challenges of achieving a pregnancy is that, unfortunately, we're talking about plan B, but in my mind, I always say that there are at least 5 different plans. Number 1, try IVF. That's the test tube baby. It may work,
very expensive,
and it's expensive. Number 2 is if, especially those that are more advanced in age and they have challenges that they may not be able to carry their own pregnancy, you now start looking at surrogacy. It too is not cheap, but it's also an option. There's another option, which is adoption. Adoption, you must have the patience of Job to go through the legal adoption process in Nigeria. That's another option. Fourth option is the one that women will not like, but I said it's women that I never used to consider that option until women started bringing their husband to me and said, make my husband marry a second wife so that I will rest. So that's another option, marrying another one, especially if the cause of the challenge is with the lady. But let me clear all doubts because of a lot of men listening out there. in that statistics show that 30% of the problem is only the man that has the problem. 30% of the problem is only the woman that has the challenge. Another 30%, both of them have a challenge. And just 10% of cases, there's no explanation. Those ones are unexplained. So if you look at that statistics, 60% of couples, the man definitely has a challenge. If you look at that statistics that they're given. So we always advise men, don't shy away from going to seek help with your wife. In the end of the day, the children that she's looking for are still going to bear your name. They're not going to bear your wife's family name. So please men should try and avail themselves of trying to, don't leave all the problem on the woman's head. No. So that's why I said that another option, they say, is taking a second wife. Then the last option, which many people don't realize is an option, they accept it as the will of God. Accept it that, okay, we're not going to have children, and you move on with your life. Exactly. I didn't realize it then, but then my principal then, when I was in school, the couple that was head proprietors, they didn't have children. So they tell us every day that we don't have children. They have told us we don't have children. We accepted it. So you children in the school, you people are children. Yes, and they accepted it and they're happy. They will live their life happily. So that also many people don't realize that's also an option. Yes, it becomes. So basically, those are my last words. That even though you're waiting for God to answer your prayers, you can also explore other options as well.
Thank you so much, Dr. I'm grateful for those last words. Mrs. Phil, what do you have to say? Last words, second wives.
Okay. My heart always goes out to people that are trying to conceive. It's not a very easy journey at all, especially with the kind of society that we find ourselves in. It's not an easy journey. Someone just bought the rocker that I had for COVID.
Okay.
And when the lady was chatting, it was through a declutter service. And when she was chatting, she was like, the lady that wants to buy this is TTC. She's trying to conceive.
Okay.
And she's just buying this rocker by faith. Hi. My heart just sank and she was pricing a certain amount. I just agreed.
Yeah.
Because it's really not an easy journey at all. And the other options apart from accepting your fate and knowing that waiting for God's time or accepting that it's the will of God, you're not going to have children. The other options are expensive. Adoption is expensive, surrogacy is expensive, IVF tubes are also expensive. So it's not everybody that can even afford it. Even if people want to adopt, the whole feeling of, you didn't go through the pregnancy thing, that journey of you're feeling the baby kick in your stomach, everybody will come, child dedication, all those kind of things. We attach a lot of things as a society, all these things, exactly. And another thing too I want to say is that as Nigerians, as a people, we can do better. You don't see a lady that they just got married and you're now watching her, or after some time you notice that maybe she's adding up and you're saying, I'm seeing your nose, I'm seeing your cheeks, congrats. So she may be having some form of hormonal imbalance.
Yeah.
She may be taking some hormonal injections that's making her look that way. You don't even know what she's fighting, and you're saying, I'm seeing your. We should stop it. All this you are seeing people pray, don't worry, the answer, God will give you your own. That's wrong. It is very wrong. If you see a couple and you feel like, maybe they are looking for, pray for them in your heart. Don't ask them anything. Don't self-congratulate. Don't do any of all those things. It is not good. Just pray for them in your heart. When they announce to you, we're expecting you, congratulate them.
Yeah.
But anything aside that, just keep it to yourself. Even if you say, I'm seeing the bump, sometimes it may not be a bump.
It might not be.
It might not be, and it's depressing. So let's refrain from all those things. It's not good at all. That's basically all.
Thank you so much. Yeah, very it's good you said that because there was a couple just got married and on their Shwebi WhatsApp group. They just got married that day. One boy went there and said, "Oh, 9 months, please invite us." Have pressure
Calm down. Calm down.
Pressure. They just married today. We're already planning 9 months.
Calm
So
down.
that's the pressure society puts on us. Mr. Steve, last words.
Okay, well, I think they both taking the words out of my mouth, and especially the last option that he gave. So I would just border on it that it really depends on who you get married to, because if you are getting married to somebody, you are doing life exclusively with that person. Even when the children come, they come in between at some point, and then they grow and they go, and you're still stuck with that person. So if you pick the right person to get married to, you are led by God, you get married to the right person, children or not, that person should be enough for you.
Yeah.
And that's the only way you can live life to the fullest. And there's something my wife and I will do whenever we are looking unto God for something or we're planning towards something. We always remind ourselves that we should live for the moment, live as if that thing is not going to happen. So that when it does, it's just a plus. As opposed to putting every other thing on hold, every time that's the only thing you're discussing, that's the only place every conversation or every action is gearing towards. It's really not nice. I noticed when you mentioned the thing about the rock and the lady trying to conceive, there was a way doctor made even when she brought that information to me that the person that wants to buy this thing is trying to conceive. The first thing I said was, I don't like this. But we let it go as far. Everybody has different ways of exercising their faith.
Yeah.
But I first said, I don't like this. I don't like, because I believe that I don't have to. If God says this thing is happening at this time, that time is the best, whether we admit it or not, whether it falls into our plan or our schedule or not. So sometimes we should just let God be God, as opposed to, I don't believe you can challenge God. There are a couple of people that says challenge him with this, with the seed. I don't believe in it. I don't. I believe in prayers, and in His time He will make everything beautiful. So I think that would be my answer.
Awesome. I think it boils down to, why do people get married? Is it for children or is it for companionship?
Exactly.
So it's amazing, having this discussion with such amazing people. Thank you for taking your time to be on Hot Takes today. I appreciate you.
Thank you very much.
Until next time, catch us on the Hot Takes Live, Instagram or YouTube. Thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe, share, and I hope you got to learn a lot from this conversation. Happy weekend.